actually love a statement like that. Do people usually war like this? Ah, I see you haven't watched a Louis game before. One and all, I hope you are ready for fireworks here in game number 2 of our grand finals between Louis, MT, and B. Louis has shown us a ultra sick way to play House of Lancaster here on Alliant Horizon. And B has time and time again shown us the power of the Ottomans on this map. I am buzzing for this. I am ready for a late game bloodbath. I want to see if we can get there. Louis MT, a believer in Abbey of Kings, as we saw in his semifinals up against Scatterbrained. And he's opening the same way he did then. Now, question is, how long do you want to play this age? Because long Dark Age is very difficult against Ottomans. They have a lot of upsides because of the imams, the metas, loads of variant element of auras, which makes the Ottomans quite powerful. So I think for Louis, the goal here is going to be just to get your value in terms of Merchant Camp plus the Wolf Den and get the hell out of the age. And what is up? I do see you, King Lolander. Appreciate the Prime sub, mate, and welcome back to the Swarm. It's a good investment to subscribe to the channel. You know what I love about watching these two, actually, is... I was saying it at the start of the series when we're hyping it up. Even after all these weeks of watching them, and I think anyone who's been watching the YouTube channel, you can go back and have a look. They're always evolving. And you can say that's because of new maps, but I think that's just the style of the players. B is universally renowned for this. He always has different approaches game to game. It never feels like you play the same game against him twice. But I think Louis MT has really ramped up his diversity in the early game. Late game is a wild card for him, sure. You don't know what he's going to do, you just know he's going to be strong. But his early game presence has got so much more variability to it now than I think it's had historically. Really shows. B is going to be showing those spears on the enemy side. Micro battle in the beginning. Slight edge there for B on the timing. He's trying to make it a little bit better with a pull. But there's a third spear now, so... Wait, whoa, boy, whoa. That was greedy. It's going to be a difference of one strike. You can feel it. Louis. I just realized I made the Age of Empires 1 villager spawn noise, didn't I? Spear's going to have to keep running away. I like the way that B's doing this, by the way. You see what he's doing? Where he just pulls one that's injured heavily back and then stays the other. To compel his opponent to kind of like react to the full health one. Louis MT is kind of getting a little bit more value out of a stand ground format here. North side looks like his spearman did run it down. And we are creeping ever closer to that danger point. And I'm creeping ever closer to sub goals. What is up, Learty? I see you with the sub. Thank you very much, mate. And welcome back. Oof, Louis, before he was playing into his side of the map, he needs to be a bit more careful now. As we're approaching B territory. Oh, that feels so bad. When you don't get that final hit, you know you're going to get forced to pull. And this is the thing. Like, watch what's happening from B. He's waiting for the moment where Louis stops looking. He's going to turn around now, sees its value because he's able to get the 2 kills. It's just so elegantly played. I mean, Louis, it's not like he's falling miles behind, but it always feels like he's one spear weaker on the engagement. Not for the first time. B's actually the one now overextending. Louis using it well against him, actually. He will get stabbed down in the end. Because what you can try to do sometimes there is you can just keep running and wait for the charge to run out to min-max damage, or you turn around for a free stab in return and just accept death. Elsewhere, though, accepting the moolah. B, he actually stole the Wolf Den. Well played. That's the crazy thing here, is like he's been fighting with less spears. Louis been sending everything to these engagements. They just, even though he should have more, when we look at the screen each time, this is the case. What is happening? Dark Age, baby. It's mattering. Okay, so Louis is now going to go for his age up. He did have to gather on the gold, so it feels a little bit annoying to have to do this. But at least the merchant camp's padded for it. And now, this is interesting. Abbey of Kings is going to give an immediate value point to Louis MT with extra health from the Lord of Lancaster. But B also has a very powerful Fiddle Age, courtesy of these 2 elements. Fieldwork and metas. But you don't obviously need the Vizier point to get metas. But the fieldwork, so the healing, quite valuable if you can force Louis MT to stay away from Yeoman. AoE 1 villagers was sh, not sh. All right. All right. I've been checked. Wasn't there multiple different noises? I'm trying to remember. Shh. I mean, if we're talking classic iconic AoE noises, I think to this day it's always going to be Wololo. Red Bull was smart snatching that one up, you know? Being the second Wolf Den is actually a big deal. Because usually with a Civ, you tend to rush blacksmiths a bit quicker. And now you can actually afford the things out of them straight away. Might prove problematic for Louis, because you're already expecting archers to counter out your opening of spears. Means also your lord isn't going to feel that tanky. Preferably you want to be into yeoman yourself, but ever since the nerfs to yeoman costs, I think scaling a feudal yeoman is very tricky. It's not just the obtuse, I do it, ugh. Need something else to embolden it, which is why we now see him go on the stone to gather for the manors. Oh, you guys are going for the Asian mythology for your classic noises? I'd say they're like true bangers, but I feel like Wololo might still be the most, and might be the most iconics. Just because they're like the OG ones, you know? Myth definitely has a lot though. Prostagma. Vulome. Metalis. Rogan. I like Rogan. You guys know I use it a lot personally. I don't think it is as iconic though. It's a good one. But I don't know if I put it like... If we had Wololo on S tier, I'd probably put Rogan on like A tier. You know? Like for AoE 4, if you had to choose one line to be the most iconic one, I mean, outside the obvious Wololo noises, it might be... It's probably Strelbora, isn't it? Incontinent is definitely underrated. Why doesn't Louis MT go castle to support the manors? Because he thinks he doesn't need them. If he's going to be forced to scale army early, he wants to then make the army better upon feudal. So he's just looking to use actual army instead of actual, outposts. Speaking of outposts, though, Louis MT, oi. Time on this a little bit greedy. Does get it up in the end. It's going to cost him archers, though. One goes down, and this is a dive with the Imam heal. So a little bit tricky, because Louis MT, he only has the outpost to try and snipe those Imams. With the ranged armor, not going to be able to do so. Nicely threaded by B. Keeps both of them alive. That's important, because the Imams cannot heal themselves. They require each other. They're two parts of the whole. Okay, we're not going to turn this into a love song. But good control. He has the merchant camp now. He knows what Louis' win condition is. It's mana spam into probably a tech up here. Love this from Louis, though. Look at the double down. 4 Lords of Lancaster. He knows he can't match the Aura's ranged armor or melee armor. But he can increase his effective HP by increasing his raw HP. Still has some things to answer for. Only has 1 mana online. And B on the other side is continuing to just trend in the same direction, but has got the undermesh now in the way. In fact, adding in a few Sapahi is quite nice. Because his thought process is that Louis will have to react with Yeoman at some point, which does make sense. This mass heal so OP. It's very hard to do. Go try it in your games, you'll see what I mean. If you're playing against a conscious opponent and they're scaling military, it is so hard to make work. And the Lords auto-upgrade with age. But obviously they're upgrading each other's healths by existing in the meantime. Yeah, 267 HP on these bad boys with 4 of them in range. I guess B could just age up now, no? It feels like he's trying to go for an all-in. And yeah, we have commitment. Siege engineering's on the way. If this is White Tower, though, can you actually dive quick enough? Louis left room for it. It won't feel like a great White Tower. Hey, there's a name I haven't seen in a while. What's up, Secundes? Thank you very much for the sub, mate. Hope you're well. Welcome. Okay, yeah, he goes for it in a more greedy location. Yeah, I don't think he could have done it here anyway due to the mana. And it wouldn't have protected anything. He needs to secure the stone. Plus the deer. Problem is, B, he's waiting for Rams. If he doesn't know about the white tower timing, does he try for 2? Because I think 2 makes you too slow here. Oh, I'm getting a bad feeling about this. The Rams need to go. The problem is, because there's the Lords of Lancaster, you can't just send the Ram in on its own. Yeah, this feels too late. White Tower's going to complete. And B, I guess, like, you know, you're going to feel a need to try and pressure, but doesn't feel like you can actually get a substantial kill with this. Maybe threaten the food at least. When White Tower's revealed, Sipahi are going to dive deeper. Lords of Lancaster, there's the auto upgrade, now up to 298 HP. So it means like an extra 20 HP or so. They also then get an extra 2 damage on their Greatsword swing. It's not a crazy amount of extra free stats. But it does blob quite nicely to make them much more unkillable. Now, he could be garrisoning in the White Tower to try and just whittle away at these reinforcements. Like, oh, wait, did he always? That was cheeky. He tried to use the Earl's Guard to snipe the meta. Earl's Guard have very high base damage on their range shot. Okay, so for B, I think he sees it as a win that he stopped any additional mana spamming and forced White Tower. So instead, now he's going to try to constrict the map, and he has got a tech coming behind. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if you entirely needed the Rams, but at least it gave you a semi-dive point with the army occasionally. Because if you didn't have the Rams, the White Tower would have automatically attacked and killed everything. Oh, yeah, going to be moving around the back. It's at least blocking out Berry and Gold, but we saw Louis still has a little bit of runway. It's about to disappear, though. 10 gold left over, and then Louis dry. And he's producing knights. Morbi now pulling the trigger. Mehmed Imperial Armory is on the way. These knights have 280 HP, by the way. So the Lords of Lancaster almost providing royal bloodlines. Just sink that, let that sink in. Process that for a second. He's going to commit the flash. Should we switch this to melee armor? We should indeed. So it makes the Sipahi a lot more tanky, just not against spears. Frontline gets wiped. Louis, he still hasn't lost a Lord yet. So obnoxiously tanky. Yeah, this is going to be army wipe. I think B just wanted to buy some time while Mehmed Imperial Army came. The sad reality, though, is that he kept the Imams here. So he could easily lose them before they can pick up relics. Does do the right thing. He pulls most of the army south side to let the religious boys get away. So we'll be able to start picking up relics swiftly here. I think Louis knew what was happening. Maybe he didn't realize the Imams went north, because I think it's worth pulling a single knight for that. Just to deny your opponent on the timing. Because you're going for the same timing here. Relics. Imams running look funny? Nah, why you gotta mark them, dude? Like, it's not easy to walk with a uniform that long. I don't know, I can't decide if this is comfortable or not comfortable. Like, the breeze must be really nice, but it feels like it'd be very easy to trip over yourself, you know? Knights Earl's Guard are arriving in the base. We do have crossbow spam now for being. Remember, with the blacksmiths, you just push them out quicker. Tricky part is, do you deal with the Lancers that would breach you or the Earl's Guard that are tanking everything? It feels like the Earl's Guard should be your primary target instead, though. Just kind of a split A-click there between different ones. I wonder, does Louis consider adding in additional manas? I guess not right now. It's a relic race after all. Yeah, if you go for mana spam here, you're going to give your opponent relics. And considering the lack of gold long-term on this map, that would be the deciding factor. So who do I like more for the castle now? This is the weird thing about White Tower. White Tower feels like it's momentum-based. You either use it to stop your opponent's momentum or use it to consolidate yours. He did technically stop B's momentum in some ways for a moment, but you're now seeing B push forward more aggressively. This is where White Tower feels weird. It's the Quagmire landmark when you have to play it like this. Now, there are maps where White Tower can be justified, where you have, you know, a big 4K or 8K gold you've secured. But he doesn't. And he's only going to have, what, 2 relics at this pacing? Could he sneak a foot? Nah, that shouldn't be happening. There's no way, right? Oh, 1 archer or aggroed. Wait, is he really going to... All right, this actually changes things a little, guys. 80 gold a minute might not sound like a lot, but when you have none in a corner, that's what you need for Yeoman Spearman upgrades. You've got to be kidding me. He actually sneaks it back. Timing perfect there. No Night Raid on the back. Only gets a single worker kill, but yeah, this getting home is the biggest of deals. So now Louis, switching Spear Yeoman, can actually justify the upgrades without having to resort to bad trade rates in a marketplace. Not only that, he's going to keep the door open for heavily armored. Snuck out into the 4K. And B just became very reluctant because that 1 or 2 knights on the flanks, right? Like, he backed up entirely and lost the relic race. Sacred Sight's at least going to give him better gold gen. I wonder if B just considers rushing Imperial. Feels dangerous because if your opponent's just spamming Yeoman on the high ground and then ambushes you with that pull of like 20 or 30, rushing him could just be the end of you, right? So probably feels like he needs to keep scaling more military instead. And actually gets denied on another relic. Probably unlikely we see Louis pull that back to his favor, as B has control in the area. And Louis is switching away from knights now anyway. Damn, I'm impressed by Louis, man. It's almost like he's giving us a preview, like, oh, you guys thought the weekend's gonna be close? Yo, hold my beer. And this would be no small feat either. You have to remember that Ottomans have been looking borderline unslayable in this matchup and on this map in most matchups rather. But then on top of that, if I had to choose one civ you'd ban away from B outside of the obvious of HRE Rus, this is the one. Is there any world in which he maybe plays for scale now? Because you know at this stage your opponent's probably spamming manas, and you have no way of breaking in and killing him for that. Nice denial as well. B just trying to remove additional food sources. At this stage, I think I could kind of see the idea for B going 2TC. I don't entirely like it, but I feel like you can't really like much here in this situation. B1, sorry, Dimir won with KT against B's Ottomans. Yeah, I didn't catch that game. As sadly, that was on our 1 day off. We have a week. But I was a little bit surprised to end up being 3-1 for those who didn't catch that. I might have to go back and look at that one later. Because I'm curious. I don't think that it's impossible for Knights Templar to beat Ottomans, by the way. It's definitely skill execution. But I think if both players are playing absolutely their best, I'd still edge Ottomans. It's just, you have to remember that you have Chevalier plus Archer versus Archer Sipahi. So although there's those auras for Ottomans, especially with the Archer efficiency of Knights Templar, you can see the way. Why is Rus and HRE such a high ban rate? What makes them OP? Buddy, we'd have to get a list. Even though it's predictable, Rus's fast castle build is still very good because Horse Archers are strong and there's no easy way of stopping them doing it. On top of that, probably the best pro scout civ still in the game, or definitely, like I say, top 2. HRE, on the other hand, it's marching drills, it's a 40% better economy, mind work variability. There's just so many good elements about HRE. They're too good. Every other civ in the game needs a buff or HRE needs a nerf. And I try to avoid nerfs for civs. But HRE has been long overdue on that. This is such a Louis thing to do at this stage. He really wants that long-term secure on the 8k gold. Can't buff civs all the time? You actually can. It's just you get the ARPG effect of very big, stupid numbers. But it's like, if you don't care about the numbers being very big and stupid, maybe in some ways it looks cooler because of it, then it's fine. Like, y'all ever play Maple Story? All right, so I didn't know about this, but apparently Maple Story Classic is coming, or is already here. So they're doing like a complete, like, World of Warcraft up. Now, if you go play that, you're going to see numbers over mobs' heads of like, 10, 20, 30, 40, or whatever, right? If you play Maple Story normal, as in like the retail, you're looking at billions of damage on your screen. So like some games can make it work because of it. The problem is a lot of games, the issue they face is numbness to the numbers. You see a big number at first, you're like, oh, wow, endorphins. But then over time, you're like, okay, this number is irrelevant. It's like, wow, I done 1 billion damage and it took 1% of his health. Wahoo. Maple Story is played by the weird goth kids? I don't think that's true. I definitely wasn't a goth, and I got sucked into it. And Emma most definitely wasn't a goth. She's one of the sporty girls. So your stereotypes, mate, are ill-dated. The people... I actually love a statement like that. Do people usually war like this? Ah, I see you haven't watched a Louis game before. He started with the riskiest wars. It's kind of smart, actually. Think about it this way. If you sneak out and start here, by the time your opponent sees what you're doing, which is usually going to be towards your base, you've already walked the hardest part. And what's up, TJ? Appreciate the sub, mate. And welcome back to Swarm. This is wild, though. I mean, it's a cool idea by Louis, but he's still militarily quite weak. He's got to rely on choke points a lot here, but that's dangerous because of the Springle play by B. Sacred Sight's now looking to be locked in, but we have got Decap sneaking through. And you can see Louis understands that he's going to be beaten in direct fight at the moment. He needs to wait patiently here. Now, numbers do deceive a little bit. You have to remember that the Lords of Lancaster add substantial health into the formation. Mana count is up to 9, so economically, Louis MT is able to compete with what B is doing here. And the top part of the wall does not have a gap. It's nice and fully enclosed. And, oh, hello. Louis actually did walk some villagers out here, so B will be able to find a little bit of value up there. And the other problem now is, remember, Louis MT has got all this economy, 60 villagers on the high ground. There's nothing to really do here. The tree line's running out. The gold is gone. You don't really want more stone right now. So, weirdly enough, B doesn't actually have to move. He can just chill here. Because at this rate, he'll reach 200 pop first. And then you can start thinking about Imperial Age before Louis. So, yeah, very uncomfortable position China's #1 finds himself in. Villagers, one of them did sneak out to re-wall. The others do get massacred, though. I wonder what makes B think he needs to push in. It might just be he's testing that Louis is actually able to keep up with him. So I think like the only way you really should lose from this position is just a hard commit, right? Potentially, anyway. Mangoes from behind the tree lines might make B rather think twice about the dive. He's going to start backing up a bit. And now, within 10 of max pop, you can kind of just lean onto military school's generation and start saving here. Just line the pockets, right? Louis has been ridiculous with this, by the way. I've been keeping an eye on the minimap. Just had one villager going around looking for later flank points. Like somewhere you can raid down the line. Sink shot. The mango follow-ups might be better, though. Now, hold on a second. B. He may have squared up at the wrong time. The cavalry wasn't here. Frontline's already gone. Mangoes are now hitting well. Sink shot follow-up. Good onto the Janissaries. This is not looking like a break. He commits the spot here in. But just enough spearmen to hold him at bay. The Mango's still protected. He does have the military numbers. Can he maybe break through here? The Sapphire are in. Mango count is falling. By God, he may have just done it. Despite the numbers looking like they favored Louis, that second wave seals it. B starting to break in. It's going to reset now. Happy with the damage he's done. But I'm impressed, man. The Sapai, against that many spears, you wouldn't have expected him to perform that well. But it shows you the value of just double melee being able to attack compared to the spearman count. Now, with practically no gold, you just see Louis queue up 3 more mangoes. A play that feels like it is born out of desperation here, as he still lacks access to any outside gold source. It is just the 3 relics keeping Louis afloat. Not saving him from sinking for long here at this rate. Triple Sacred Site now in. And on the rematch, you can see that B has an overwhelming advantage going back towards 200. Louis almost out of wood? Oh, he definitely is. He's now taking risk. For 700 gold and B, it is the big boy toy. He just summoned the Great Bombard. And this is getting awkward. He'll be able to secure some wood. I think Louis just maybe wants to Takeshi Castle this. Just add wall, wall, wall. You want to create a maze for B to get lost in. Because Louis, the reason that fight on the defensive looked good at first is because B's cavalry was so far away. So if you can compartmentalize the map more, you might eventually still lose more villagers, but you'll create big delays so that B's not fighting the full military mass. Which, with the difference in terms of military population, you need every little bit of help you can get to swing the numbers your way. And here's the thing, like, if they both go Imperial, I still don't know if I'd say House of Lancaster feels that great here. You can keep your opponent off of the Janissaries, but Sepahis are going to feel even more valuable. The mechas still become impactful. If you can start spamming keeps, if you can reach Imp and spam keeps, I think Louis MC could have it with just Earlsguard. But those are some very big ifs. You need to gather 900 stone a pop to get a castle. You've got White Tower and Debarkchi, which would give +2, but you want to get an extra 4 keeps. That's expensive. Then you need to find access to gold to be able to get to all these things. There's just a lot of ... dots when describing how Louis MT wins the game. Whereas for B, it's just more, yeah, Cam, keep doing what you're doing, and then just get tech advantage. We do have to sneak out again. Louis MT sending more villagers north. B, all too aware, though. This map makes really interesting games. Agreed. You know, I like the idea of these type maps. Like, I thought it'd be really cool to have these start close, but what you need is elsewhere type maps. I really do rate them highly. Some can feel a little bit clunky, like the, was it Anatolian Hills? The one with the river you had to cross. But there are a lot of cool things. And we do have... Woo. Okay, Yeoman sneak in. So finally, Louis able to spring to life. He gets some worker kills for the first time, what feels like forever. And wait, this Yeoman group is unanswered right now. It's got some knights now arriving. And most of his military is locked on the front line. So he needs to wait for reinforcements. The Yeoman could easily just target villages here. I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Yep, goes after them. Has enough for the one-hit kills also. B finally realized what's happening, but he's trading out on the other side. Forces the castle drop. Great Bombard is here, but the Mango count... Oh my god, what? What happened to the Mango line? This guy had gold for what felt like a few seconds, and look at him go. 7 mangoes now to try and answer the one Great Bombard. I think B just needs age 4. This is getting weird now. Sepahi raid, not able to find their target courtesy to the keep. And Louis MC, we talked about the Earlsguard strategy. Guys, that's exactly where he's going. In fact, it is full melee blob with siege. This is actually a pretty wacky strat. So Earlsguard to kind of contest the Janissaries over time. You've got the Spearmen to deal with the Cav. And then obviously Billman helps the Earlsguard even further. And then Mangoes also just seals the deal on the Jannies. It's a wacky comp. In some ways, this feels better than just being English and spamming men-at-arms with Armorclad. Yeah, you get your debuff. You have to think of the Spearmen as not just anti-cav, but they're also kind of like a support unit. Then you've got Lords of Lancaster. Like, this is the thing about the auras we talked about. Ottomans have the very obvious apparent aura advantage, but Lancaster is subtle with the debuff from Spears for -1 armor, and then the 20% health increase from Lords. It's a very odd dynamic, especially at this point in the game. You know, because you can argue things like the Billman loses some of its value when you go Imperial due to everyone having even more health. And yes, the Lords of Lancaster do give Mango's health. In fact, if you have a look at Rams, when there's a Ram near Lords of Lancaster, 4 of them will give an extra 80 HP. Yeah, you basically get like siege works by having Lords here. Makes it harder for the Mangos to trade out against the Lancastrian ones. He's trying right now, though. The Mangos are actually just ignoring the enemies. Finally returns fire. Lancers are going to rip around the back, so it looks like you better splinter a few, but there's a lot of Mangos here from Louis MT. And it's disintegrating that backline. Yeah, only really archers left over. Now, tech up has happened for B. He is an age ahead here, but he will not have much of an army to upgrade at this rate. And Louis, credit to him, is not far behind. Great Bombard might be worth chasing down here, but the timing is going to focus on the main army. Sipahi, a few of them are going to leak in, so more Mangos to full. And it looks like both sides are going to just lose the massive siege. He's even got a few of the Lords of Lancaster reaching over towards the Great Bombard. This game is still not over. This is ridiculous. However, Sipahi do find the gold workers. Oh god, and Louis, what he reinvests. That's shocking. Louis was about, what, collectively, I think 600 resources away from triggering Imperial Age. He doubles down on the Age. And what's even crazy to me is with your opponent now being an Imperial Age, he double downs on Mangos. I guess he felt he couldn't get Berkshire up quick enough. Probably also the gold on the north side was freaking him out. But now you have huge gold issues in general. You're back to no direct vein access. Louis even gathering trees on the south side. He just got all this economy and nowhere to really swing it with the way the map's played out. This guy is wild. It's just such a funky way to play Enlightened Horizon. You know, we've seen people lean into the corner quick. We've seen them lean towards the sacred side, center of the map. But basically clawing the edge of the map is a very unique way to play Enlightened Horizon. The sacred side timer is ticking down. We do have a lot of techs on the way in for B as well. Clive Barnes is a big one. I believe we should have some university tech soon as well. Yeah, most notably biology would be the big one. Louis, because he hasn't aged up, that means it could turn into a double tech difference. Remember, university tech is kind of like going age 5, actually. Looks like siege is going to be... Please, just kill the Mango first. We've almost got it, boys. Soon. Soon. I think this Great Bombard is kind of MVP just by wasting everyone's time here. And he can't even kill the village. Like, just the villagers, man. The villagers need to die. Oh, my God. That just feels cursed. Great Bombard is now looking to counter siege. B. He should have enough Sipahi, but a lot of them actually aren't here. Great Bombard. He's going to stand his ground, but that means villagers could be sacrificed as well. He's still trying to kill it melee. This is just so painful to watch. Great Bombard with 250 HP. Sipahi are going to throw away their lives, but it's worth it. Mangos go down again. This Great Bombard is just not moving. Finally, he has the damage for the kill. But that felt like one hell of a meat grinder just for the single solo kill on Siege. Especially now that there's additional losses for you. Sipahi at this stage, remember, they hit for a pretty impressive 33 damage per strike into Siege. I.e., they kill you in 5 hits. What impresses me is the fact that Louis is somehow still keeping the meat blob going. You know, he does have manners. You can never underrate that. But an age behind this long is usually a death sentence, I feel like. Normally, when someone stays an age behind this long, they find a big edge, a big advantage. You know, they have to, because otherwise the game is over. But somehow Louis MT, while not finding like an overwhelming advantage here, has at least remained in the game long enough that he can now secure the fourth phase. And I wonder if we're being seeing, yep, Wingard. He doesn't want to Berkshire it. Okay, that's a bit surprising considering the reliance on Earlsguard. Remember, if you go Berkshire, Earlsguard get an extra 2 damage maximum possible off the keep spam. It's more likely that Louis just doesn't think he has enough stone to do that, though. Because he would need to add in an additional 4 castles to get the maximum damage. Walls already up over here. So B, if he wants to get into the main base, he's going to need to bring the siege down. I think the Great Bombards are actually in the middle of the map. That Sacred Site timer is ticking, though. And I wouldn't be surprised if B goes for like a castle drop here. No rush on the stone so far. He's just relying on outpost to give him an early warning. Look at the vision on this map. Yeah, reminder that B even went for the extra vision on scouts to make sure you can see everything. And that's a problematic position for Louis to be in. He's playing from behind with limited gold access. And he knows he's going to have to brute force towards the main objective, but like you have to now somehow do this, what? I don't want to say unseen, but somewhat surprisingly. The problem is this is B's vision. Look at the minimap. There is no secret angle to approach from right now. Any normal moves, pretty much obvious. Looks like B is just going to play for Sacred Site now. I mean, Louis, he done a good job of making this look competitive, but at this stage, what is his answer? You can't really afford to mass mangoes again, even with Scottish coming in. He has got some gold access up here. Like, in theory, if you wanted, you could reblob mangoes once. But your opponent's already deep in the Sapar here. Oh, yeah, you're in. Talking to that gold. It doesn't feel like it's going to last long. Okay, he has got stone walls. Oh, just in time. B does have siege engineering if he chooses, or, hear me out, I think I know a better way of getting through these walls. Like, call me crazy, but we might have the SWAT team to breach and enter. All right, remember, boys, once we breach the compound, if it looks like they don't have a weapon, that's what your secondary sidearm's for. You put them next to the body, you make sure you cloth it off so there's no fingerprints, and you say, it looks like a clean kill to me. All right, go, go, go! Run, run! Well, the good news for Louis is he clearly never wanted to spend on gold units. He just wanted more spears. It's an 82 spearmen. But they've got -1 armor, and it's OP. Let's not oversell. You know, we're at risk of... If you buy into that, you might find yourself feeling a little bit like Jack visiting the Giants. Yeah, and I think the Roboticon is the big deal for me. He has a Culverin, but this one Roboticon is just holding him hostage. He can't turn. It's like, oh, yeah, you keep going, guys. I'll be there soon. Yeah, you got this. I'm almost there. Oh, my God. Archer's on the other side as well. B, he's sandwiched him. Roboticon's going to start shooting. Great Bombards are also catching up. Like, Louis trying to buy time here. He has got Padded Jack on the way. Problem is, like, buying time doesn't work when there's a timer ticking against you. Sacred Sites are about to be down to under 2 minutes. And we'll never see Elite Army Tactics with the Lords of Lancaster. Which is unfortunate, because it does look pretty giga-busted mathematically. He has got a second wave coming in for the other Sacred Sites to make... Oh, no. I had to open my fat mouth, didn't I? Line it up, boys. Oh, no. That's just not fair. 1 cannon, 2 cannon, 3, and a gajillion. It's a totally balanced fight. Where there's 75 spears, I think he had a lot of them hiding at the gold. Like, right now, Louis MT is playing Lemmings more than he's playing Age of Empires 4. His army's looking like a Dota 2 creep wave. Okay, guys. Yep, like 5 of us are going to go out together. And then occasionally we might have a catapult with us. But, sir, why don't we just send the entire army in so that we can just overwhelm them? No, no, no. Nope. We, for years, have followed this order of 5 out at a time. We'll stick to it. Anyway. We do at least finally have Earlsguard getting upgraded. Scottish should be enough. to afford Earlsguard spam. It's just, once again, it's a case of timing. It's about to get worse. We've got the super bowstrings coming in a sec. So many Sipahi. And B, you're seeing, he knows he doesn't need a rushed engagement here. He's not on the clock. Louis is. And Louis is playing House of Lancaster basically without ranged, if you think about it. He's got siege, but not much of it. It is pretty much you playing HRE old school. And you're just losing to elite archers. Great Bombars now go into Dent on the Covrans. The Zabai is starting to leak through. Like, this is over. He's got 26 seconds on the clock, and he's got no sneak coming. So B is going to flex his Ottomans, as he always does on the Line Horizon, and come out the ambitious victor. Oh, God, I tell you what, though. Louis MT is starting to scare me. I think he, more than anyone else, is giving me flashbacks to the dirty, ultra late game English strats in a way that no one else has on Lancaster so far.